Hi, and welcome to this video introducing Invitbox to you. So let's start with how you actually access Invitbox. Well, it's 100% cloud-based. So quite simply, go to any internet browser, type in invitbox.com, and you're there. So what actually is Invitbox? Well, Invitbox is accounts payable automation made simple. Quite simply, what Invitbox does is it sits between your suppliers and your accountancy software. It replaces the traditional accounts payable process of receiving bills, putting the bills in front of people for approval, price checking, etc., signature, sign off, data entry, and filing. That's what it replaces. So how does it work? Well, quite simply, if you are Jim's Plumbing, you would register Jim's Plumbing at invitbox.com, and from that moment you would simply ask your suppliers to email their bills to you, their standard bill, just in PDF format to Jim's Plumbing at invitbox.com. Nothing more complicated than that, just their standard bill. And because it's so easy for the suppliers, actually adopting this is a breeze both for you and for them. So, as we've noted, the bill arrives in and we strip out the attachments from the email. More importantly, what we do at this point is we start an audit trail. Where did the bill come from? Who has read it? Who has approved it? Who has edited it? Who has touched a bill? And this audit trail will live on the bill for the 7 years. As the bill comes in, you assign default GL codes and tracking categories. And we present the bill only to the users whose job it is to approve them. We've tried to replicate the normal workflow of a bill through a paper organization and actually put that and bring that into the 21st century. The beauty is once the approvals process has been completed, you can export all of the data with a click of a button into your accountancy software and to point of sale systems if the inventory is relevant to you. At the end of that process, the bills are filed online for 7 years for you in a fully ATO compliant format. Let's have a look at how that looks in the real world. So let's log on to Invitbox. Now, logging onto Invitbox, you simply use your normal email address that you use to register and a password. And if you're associated with more than one Invitbox company, the single email address and password gets you into as many companies as you're associated with. So in this scenario, we're logging into a company called New Test Co. at invitbox.com. So we'll go through the normal sort of format of Invitbox. So you see that there's an in tray, an approve tab. Once bills get approved from the in tray and then signed off from the approve tab, they move to the signed off tab, and it's from here that with the single click of a button they get exported to your accountancy software, then filed in your filing cabinet. So let's go back to the in tray and let's have a look at a bill. In Invitbox we refer to a 3-panel format. Panel 1, Panel 2, and you can see Panel 2 presents the original bill to you, be it a 1-pager or a 2-pager. You can zoom in and zoom out of the bill. And then on the right hand side we'll refer to Panel 3. Panel 3 shows you the detail extracted from the bill, the original email, and any notes that you've added to the bill. So let's go back to the detail extracted from the bill. You can see currency, due dates, invoice numbers, things like that. You can see that we've extracted product codes in this scenario, as well as descriptions, unit prices, and quantities. All of the information that you see on the right hand side is totally dynamic, so you can change the delivery dates, the invoice number. You can add a purchase order number, for instance, if it hasn't been extracted from the bill or for whatever reason. Let's have a look at this bill. It's a bill for product, so amongst other things we have extracted product code, description, quantity, unit price, and we've detected whether each of the rows of the data we've extracted is taxable or not. You'll notice that some of the rows are in green. So in this scenario what we've done is we've automatically price checked every single unit price to make sure that you haven't been overcharged. And that's a feature of Invitbox. Simply load up a price list and we'll do the price checking for you. We could, in this scenario, add a note to comment as to why we're not initially going to approve this bill. So maybe we've been overcharged on that product that was highlighted in red. This note, once we add it, will live on the bill for the duration of its life for the 7 years. So you can always refer back to why things have happened. So let's go back. We maybe decide to dispute the bill. The bill disappears from the in tray, moves to the disputed tab. and the disputed bill will live in here until such times as the dispute has been resolved. You can add a note. Dispute has now been resolved, credit note has been processed, or new bill has been supplied. You can then decide to either return the bill to the in-tray for processing, or you could have trashed it if they had sent the corrected bill to you. But as in the real world, the job is to either approve this bill or dispute the bill. So the manager here, let's say this is the first point of contact, maybe a department manager, can decide to change the GL code on the whole invoice, or he can click split GL codes and split the GL codes on a line-by-line basis. And with Invitbox, if you tell us once that product code ABC is a certain general ledger code, we'll remember it for the next time. You can also assign other tracking categories, or whatever your software refers to them as, across the bill as a whole or on a line-by-line basis. So then let's approve the bill. Again, check the bill, check that there's no issues on the right-hand side of the bill, and if everything looks good, we'll just approve it. And again, we just want to check it and approve it. When the manager's approving bills, what he should be looking for on the right-hand side is to whether we have flagged anything in red. Are there any issues? You'll see here, for instance, where I have fudged a tax issue on a row, you'll notice that we're saying that there's an imbalance between what we've extracted in terms of the rows, the right-hand set of values, and the data we've extracted from the footer of the bill, which is the left-hand set of values. So the manager should be looking to make sure there's no red spots or red boxes on the right-hand side before approving the bill. So if the in-tray is where the first approval happens, the Approve tab is where the Accounts Department or the accountant takes over. So in this scenario, the Accounts Department has a look at previously approved bills. They see a note in this bill, so they can obviously read the notes. So they can flick through the bills. They also can, if they want, go to the invoice history, have a look at who's approved it, when they've approved it, how long it's taken, etc., etc. So they see this full audit trail. Now, in this scenario, they may decide to dispute the fact that a bill has been approved for whatever reason. So they could add a note to the bill, and then they can decide to return the bill to the person that previously approved it, return it to the in-tray. That person, when they log in, will see the bill coming backwards through the chain in red, and will basically then manage that request from the accounts department as to check the bill or whatever it is. But quite simply, mostly what's going to happen is you're going to check the general ledger codes, maybe add a due date if there isn't one already on the bill, and sign off on the bills. That's the accounts department's job done. You'll have noticed earlier on we commented that Invitbox connects to many accountancy software systems, but in this scenario we're just going to show you how it connects with Xero. Xero being a cloud-based system, you'll notice that there is a tab at the top of the screen now also connecting to Xero. So, signed off tab, 3 bills, export to Xero. This could be 100 bills. Okay, so we're connecting Invitbox to Xero, confirming that we're going to connect to the Xero company called demo.company. Obviously we remember this, but we're just wanting to confirm it to you. And we're now sending the data between Invitbox and Xero. You'll notice that the bills have disappeared from the signed off tab. Whilst we're actually connected to Xero, we'll just refresh to make sure that you haven't added any new GL codes to Xero or supplier cards and things like that. We always like to make sure the systems are quite synced, and click OK. Now the bills are in the filing cabinet, and this is where they'll live for 7 years. So you can search the filing cabinet really dynamically. And this is just a scenario here where we're looking for a specific bill from a supplier. There it is. Or another option would be, for instance, if you wanted to look at your previously exported batches. So let's look for the last batch that we exported. There it is, those 3 bills. Okay, so the dynamic filing cabinet is a really powerful little tool. Now, there's 2 ways to export data from Invitbox to Xero. You can decide to export it to Xero as requiring further approval, where you would basically then have to jump into the bill in Xero and click approve. Or you can decide to send it into Xero as already been approved. It's gone through an approvals process already. Do we really need to do it again? It's entirely up to you, and you manage that through the settings within Invitbox. But here are those bills that we sent in requiring approval, so that's all good. Let's approve them. And what we'll show you now is a really, really clever little feature that from within a bill in Xero, you're able to then reference the bill. So you'll see a button at the top of the screen saying go to Invitbox. So click on that, and what we'll do is we'll present the bill to you. Brilliant. And that's how you export from Invitbox to Xero.